Hi guys, welcome to another beer review, and I got something that's pretty damn special, and it's my first venture into Northern Monk's Patrons project, and better late than never, I say, starting at number 4.04, which is the Victorian Lemonade IPA, clocking in at 6.5% ABV in a 440ml can, and it's brewed with Citra, Lemon Drop and Amarillo. It's also got lemon communute in there, whatever that is, wheat, malted barley of course, and then hops and yeast. And yeah, absolutely beautiful artwork courtesy of Drew Millard, and I always forget his name, but thankfully with these Patrons projects you've got a lovely sort of pull-out label, which is really nice. So yeah, beautiful artwork from Richard Norgate and Drew Millard. Just looks absolutely fantastic, doesn't it? Definitely on the shortlist for one of the best pieces of beer-related art of 2018, for damn sure. But yeah, so collaboration, it's a four-way collaboration. Drew Millard, Northern Tropics, Northern Monk and Magic Rock. So I'll quickly read you what it says on this little pull-out label. So just bear with me for 1 second. Northern Monk Patrons is an initiative set up to foster collaboration, creativity and community between artists, athletes and creatives across the North, and includes support for James Butler, Lord Whitney, A Finger Thing, Reese Leung, Hide and Seek, Ricky Lightfoot, Nomad Clan, Drew Millard, Tom Joy and Ben Mather. To find out more, visit www.northernmonkpatrons.com. Loads of information will be in the description box in this video. So a little bit of information about Drew Millard. Was born in Coventry in 1981. He grew up in Bolton, studied and lived in Leeds for many years, and now lives in a quarry in the Aire Valley. He has been drawing pictures since around 2004. Drew likes to draw the old-fashioned way, using pencil, pens and a love of craft of illustration. While his subject matter can vary dramatically, he hopes that the attention to detail and love of drawing is apparent throughout his work. And then of course Richard Norgate, a graphic designer from West Yorkshire, who has had work featured from global advertising campaigns to album covers, and the man behind the iconic Magic Rock circus branding, which is just absolutely beautiful. Starting with the logo, he helped them stand away from the norm and really take ownership of the look. Richard is a fellow Northerner who loves design, the outdoors, craft beer and mountain bikes, so it felt natural to incorporate his design as part of this collaboration. And lovely sort of sketchbook entries almost of how the artwork came together. A limited edition beer showcasing the work of Drew Millard and Richard Norgate. The label illustration was a special commission for this project. So does it say anything else on this can? So Northern Tropics, note from the brewer. The guys who started Magic Rock have been friends with some of the brew team here since before either brewery existed, but somehow we'd never made a beer together before. When we decided to remedy that, we immediately thought IPA, but we wanted to do something with a fun twist. Chatting with Richard Burhouse, we got talking about treats from his youth and came upon yellow lemonade. This got our collective minds working, and we decided it would be a nice twist on everyone's favourite style of beer. On a base of extra pale 25% wheat and a touch of acidulated malt to accentuate the acidity of the lemon, we went heavy with all the good hops to bring out a heavy citrus character, hitting the whirlpool with Citra and then dry hop with Citra, HBC 438 and lemon drop. See what we did there? We topped this up with lashings and lashings of lemon communute to give us a delicious and refreshing drink to bring you back to your youth. And it's got all of the usual information down below as well. I know some of the Northern Monk Patrons project just bombarded with information. And I know my good friend Harry from Blue Nose Beer Reviews has done some special videos of the Patrons project stuff that he has, and going on to lengths that I usually go to with video reviews, but giving much more information than I do as well. So I picked this up from Northern Beer Temple, great bottle shop, picked it up for £6.15, and yes, I'll be putting their links down below. Basically everyone involved in the production and purchasing of this beer will be credited in the description box. So let's quickly get the price off the can so I can open it properly. I'm actually doing this a lot quicker than I thought I would. I thought it'd be at like the 9-minute mark by now. No, my sort of style. But anyway. So this has been in the fridge. Just got back in from work, ready to do myself a chicken gnocchi and pesto bake for my tea. And I thought, why not have a beer while I do it? And it's like full to the top of the can. You can't really see it due to the lighting in here. But using my stemmed beer Varna glass, and look at that, it just poured straight out when I started tipping it. But yeah, a relatively new release as of recording, which is a rarity because I'm usually really quite behind when it comes to what's new and available in the world of craft beer. But I saw that they post this on Instagram the day that I bought it, and I was like, ooh, if they've got a can of this, I'm going to give it a go. Sounds really interesting. So beer in a glass then, and it's hazy. It's not like a complete haze bomb because you can see through it, but there's shit tons of particulates in there, which I'm guessing is coming from the lemon, maybe. But a lovely golden sort of look to it. It's got that very slight, as if you've watered down lemon curd. But yeah, slight bronze amber notes in there as well. And the beer didn't really pour with too much of a head, so when we swirl it round, see if we can initiate a head. I wish I could initiate good head, but that's another story for another time. But yeah, about one finger's worth of a white, foamy looking head. So looks really good. Let's give it a sniff. And it reminds me of like lemon sweets. Like big confectionery hit there, but not in that sort of like overly synthetic way. It's like more of in a nostalgic way, if that makes sense. But of course you're getting all those lovely juicy hops in there as well, shining through. And that just slight lemon character just accentuated really, really nicely, without it smelling too acidic or anything like that. But yeah, there's like dank herbal notes in there. There's a little bit of resin almost as well. It smells absolutely fantastic. It really, really does. It's not one of the more potent beers that I've had. But yeah, you definitely get that Citra character because that's a hop that a lot of people are familiar with. And you get it in this. And then you get that tropical fruitiness coming from the Amarillo. But, you know, it's got that sort of... you've smelt this kind of beer before, but the abundance of lemon in there really comes out. It reminds me of like soda pops, like panda pops, like a lemon panda pop almost as well. It smells absolutely wonderful. Let's give it a taste. Cheers, guys. Wow, big hit of lemon there. I was not expecting that. But yeah, it's reminding me of those little, those hard peach sweets. I've caught what they're called, or pear, like little hard pear sweets. Big hits of like a lemon sherbet as well, like flying saucers. You know, it's got like a borrowed 80s nostalgia. Do you know what I mean? Or as James Murphy said in Losing Our Edge, to the kids who've got, what's it called? Like a borrowed nostalgia from an unremembered 80s or something like that. Hipster as hell. It's LCD sound system. What do you expect? But yeah, this is like what I'd imagine a lot of sweets from the 70s and 80s would taste like. I'm just getting that sort of vibe from it. And of course I get almost like a refresher bar in there. There's a slight tartness in there as well. You do get that acidity a lot more than you would do with a lot of IPAs. But it's not like burning my neck or making me want to cough up bile or anything like that, that some beers do when there's a big citrus element to it. But on the back end, there's like this really big caramelised onion sort of flavour, which then turns into a very subtle grapefruit, blood orange-like bitterness. Alcohol masked really, really nicely. Crushable as hell. You might get a little bit too sickly after a couple of cans of this. But this is just a really nice change for a somewhat fruity IPA that isn't like completely with its head in the arse of the New England style, if that makes sense. I've got so much respect for beers like this that are somewhat different to what is out there. They've got a unique twist that's not just like a gimmick. I think what they've set out to do with this beer they've achieved. I'm sure a lot more people will appreciate this and some of the flavours a lot more than I can, of course. But yeah, it reminds me of like a sweet shop. It really does. Like those straws of sherbet, that sort of thing. Flying saucers. It's not got so much that sort of like ranch fruit pastel that you sometimes get from IPAs. It's like sour, like Haribo sweets almost, but in a really good way. It works really, really well. Pear drops, that's what I was thinking of before. Getting big pear drop sort of flavour in there as well, and slight tropical mango-y flavours coming from that mosaic, and then there's like this sort of like dank edge to it. I could imagine actually letting this sit for a couple of weeks. Some of those, like, because there is that sort of like green. It's not harsh, but it's got a real greeniness to it, if that makes sense. And I know some IPAs that have been rushed out to be produced for the hype and, you know, for the demand. You can sometimes get like a really hazy New England style IPA that's just way too young. It's just green harshness. This has that sort of like greenness to it, but it's not harsh. But I could imagine this beer being even better mellowing out for a couple of weeks of me recording this one. But yeah, it's something a little bit different, and it's a really nice introduction to the Patrons project. And that's a series that I want to keep up with because I love the idea of collaboration, not just between brewery to brewery and like coffee roaster and brewery or chef and brewery, but I love the idea of graphic designers having craft beer as a platform to not only show their work, but also to like almost network, if that makes sense. And when you produce an artwork like that, that would be like the best fucking mural ever to have on a wall. Do you know what I mean? Imagine that. Imagine you go for a drink and you go to a bar or a tap house or a barrel room and like the whole wall has that as its design. That would just absolutely fantastic. Beautiful artwork, it really, really is. There was a little bit of a debate recently on the UK Craft Beer Forum about how important the design of like a label can be. And I think it is, because a lot of breweries are starting to not just like do it in-house, but they're like commissioning artists, local artists or well-known artists and designers, illustrators, graffiti artists to come in and just do some work. And it's worked wonders for the likes of Tuol with Casper Ledet and Keith Shaw with McKellar. Yeah, they've got such a big brand identity. And then, of course, you've got, excuse me while I remember his name, which I do apologise. Yeah, as much as I love the design, I'm terrible with names. And I love to promote good design because, yeah, I studied for 2 years. And I like to doodle, so I'm more than qualified to comment on it. But yeah, the stuff that Richard Norgate's doing for Magic Rocket, take for instance, it's created an identity for them, and I'm all for it. And thankfully, a lot of the times, the beer actually lives up to the way the can or bottle looks, and that plays a big part. Because if you see a pretty looking bottle in a bottle shop, chances are you're going to gravitate towards it and buy it. So if the beer's good inside, then I'm all for it. I mean, come on, you've got Northern Monk and Magic Rock and Northern Tropics, who I've never heard of before. So I'll have to look into their beers, because I've had Northern Monk and Magic Rock beers. So, you know, you've got really established and well-respected brewers coming together. And, yeah, I just love it. I love it. I could gush about this sort of stuff all day. I could gush about this stuff more than I could actually gush about the beer in the glass. Speaking of which, to give this a rating, I think something a little bit different, unique. It's a refreshing change. And in terms of a rating then, I'm going to give it a very solid 9 out of 10. I think, even though it might be unfair to say this, the fact that I've opened it so early is very slightly working against it, because I could imagine, and I could be completely wrong, of course, so feel free to bombard me in the comments with opinions and actual facts, as opposed to just me putting stuff out there. But tartness from the lemon really picks up when it's all in there. It changes when you've poured all the beer in the glass, but I'm not going to take up any more of your time because you've been very patient with me. And the fact that anyone watching this who's watched previous videos is watching this video means a hell of a lot. But yeah, go check out everyone involved in the production of this beer. Go check out Northern Beer Temple in Wigan. Big shout out, great shop, great prices, great range of beers. What more can I ask for? That's, you know, a 20-minute bus ride away from me. And yeah, I'm in a really good mood now because I've just come back from work, which was very tedious, but my spirits are lifted and I've got a Verdant beer to drink a little bit later as well. So it's going to be a good drinking Friday, even though I'm in work tomorrow. But oh well. Anyway, if any of my friends and fellow beer tubers have reviewed this one, then I'll put their links down below. If you've tried it, let me know your thoughts and opinions. Are you a fan of any of the breweries involved? Any recommendations of any of their beers? Highly recommended. Go check out Harry, because he has done quite a few of the Patrons Project beers in great detail. And yeah, check out my IPA playlist and check out my craft can playlist for more examples of some really great beers. So, thank you all for watching, and I shall hopefully see you all later. Cheers.